Good afternoon, and welcome to another one of our broadcasts today. We're glad to have you with us, and we hope that you will enjoy this broadcast. It's really more of an informative broadcast, chatting with the Rev. As you know, we've been dealing with Politics 101. We talked about the election of 2016. We talked about where do we go from here. And today we're going to talk about a change is coming. Good afternoon, my wife, Teresa J. Scott, Lady T, world-renowned host of Turning Up the Gospel. She's with us today. You know, we're in the 10th day now. Good afternoon, Karen, my dear friend of mine. I love you too, sweetheart, talking to Teresa. We're in the 10th day since the election of 2010. In 2013, I'm sorry, 2016, oh my goodness. My mind's on so many things. And this is the year 2016. And the controversy still rages out of hand in my estimation. We continue to have the protest. I was listening to a broadcast today, I think it was yesterday, and Vivica J. Fox, and she's an entertainer. She was on the program co-hosting, and they were talking about the election and about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And she said that she will always see Hillary Clinton as her president. In fact, when she met her after the election was over, she referred to her as Mrs. President. And so the moderator, the regular host of the program, asked her, well, what do you think of Donald Trump? He was elected the president after all. She said, well, he's not my president. Let me tell you, dear hearts, when we have gone through the electoral process, there were months and months of campaigning. Bitter words were spoken. Issues were brought up. And then it got into the hands of the people. Yes, you may argue the fact, and you're right. And we cannot deny that fact, that the popular vote did go to Hillary Clinton by over 1 million votes. I think it was 1,125,855 votes she won over Donald Trump. But this is a country, as we've stated before, that it's not just the popular vote that matters, but the electoral college vote that matters as well. So though she won the popular vote, you cannot deny that Donald John Trump Sr. won the electoral college vote. He picked up 290 of the 538 votes total. Hello, Shawnette. And she picked up 228 electoral college votes. That's a fact. And he will be inaugurated. Unless something spectacular happens, he will be inaugurated on January the 20th, 2017, as our 45th president. That's a fact. No denying it. No matter how much we would like to deny it, no matter how much we are repelled about it. Karen says, give him hell, G-Man. Give him hell and brimstone. Amen. Hillary Clinton supporters are still protesting. And Donald Trump supporters, at least the most radical of them, are using hate-mongering type of terminology and tactics, if you will. Graffiti and other things that they're saying and that they're doing. Vandalism. Bringing up the N-word. Bringing up racial and ethnic epithets. Bringing up homophobic slogans. This nation is divided like never before. We haven't been this divided since the Civil War of 1861. Or in the modern time, we haven't been this divided since the Civil Rights Movement of the 1950s and 60s. We are a country whose house is divided. But like the word says, a house divided against itself cannot stand. And if we don't watch ourselves, we will be that house divided, not standing. If this country is to survive and truly live up to the spirit of democracy, we have to acknowledge the fact that a change has to come. A change has to come. You know there's a change already on the horizon, but are we going to allow the change on the horizon to hinder us, to bind us, or are we going to affect change ourselves? We as the people of the United States, are we going to affect change? If we continue to allow this country to be controlled by the one percenters, you see me use that term quite a bit. Let me explain it to you. The one percenters are the 1% of the wealthiest Americans who have more wealth than 90% of the other people in this nation. Now you have a little wiggle room, we have those people in the middle. But 90% of the people have no power, and 1% of the people do have all power. If we allow them to continue to control this country, if we allow the powerful lobbyists to control this country, many people want to know who they are. I'm going to explain it to you. This is an education. I call it Politics 101, because we're going to teach you a few things here that maybe you can use to mobilize, organize, and strategize a plan of action, because you'll understand what you're dealing with. One percenters are that 1% of the most wealthiest people in this country. The lobbyists, I'm going to give you 10 of the most powerful lobby groups who give money to all these candidates in the country. One of them is the tech lobby. That's right, the tech lobby, the Gates and the Microsoft people, the tech lobby is one of the most powerful lobbies in this nation. The next one is the mining industry, coal miners. Powerful lobby in this country. The defense industry doesn't mean just those who are in the military, meaning the soldiers, the Marines, the Navy folk, but it also means those who produce and manufacture arms like Boeing does, planes and other industries like that. The defense industry in every aspect. Those that use the defense industries, the guns, the weapons. Good afternoon, Sister Ingrid. And those that produce them, that make them, that create them. Another group, the defense industry. The next group is the agribusiness industry. I'm not talking about the little farmer that plants a couple of seeds in the ground and a turnip and a tomato grows up. I'm talking about the high price farm industry. You know what we're talking about? The ones that you eat every day. Those chickens that are so big because they're filled with steroids and other animals that we eat and other vegetables that we eat, that we wonder how come they don't taste the way they used to taste and why they're double the size as they used to be and all of this type of thing. It's because the regulations are not being as controlled as it should be, because the agribusiness industry is a powerful one. It's a powerful lobbyist. Many of those agricultural state representatives are beholden to this industry. The next one is the financial industry. All the banks, Wall Street, That's why we almost went into a depression, because the banks fell off and this and that happened. We just had a scandal about Wells Fargo. But it's interesting, isn't it? A person can go to jail for stealing a loaf of bread. But another person, Wall Street, white collar man, can steal millions upon millions and get a verbal reprimand, but never much time in jail, if ever. Good afternoon, Apostle Simpson. So there's another one of the lobbyists. The next one is a big one. The pharmaceutical lobby and health products. The pharmaceutical and health product lobby. You know, in many countries, the pills that we take that cost us $200-300 cost some people $16. Even over in Canada, some of the medicine that we take here, the exact same medicine. And I'm not talking about a generic brand. I'm talking about the straight up pure brand, the best brand. Good afternoon. They're hundreds of dollars less than what we pay. The pharmaceutical lobby is a powerful lobby group. That's why no one wants to touch them. No one wants to challenge them for real. That's why the medicines that they give us, they're not tested the way they really should be. And the prices that they charge is astronomical compared to other countries that use the same medication. But it's a powerful lobby. Now you see why some things aren't done in this country. Because the Congress is obligated, is obliged. They owe them so much. This one, when I read it, it surprised me, because I'm a member of it, actually. The AARP. Now, the AARP, I'm a member. It's a senior citizen group. My wife's a member as well. From 50 on up, you can join the AARP. Now, the AARP is supposed to deal with the interests of people that are senior citizens. In many ways, they do. But they also are a powerful lobbyist. Because they do other things besides, for example, they also offer up insurance policies. That's not really their job, but they've expanded. So they can now be a self-sufficient organization and not just a nonprofit one. Good afternoon, Latasha. Tasha Oglesby. And my niece, Muff. Another powerful lobbyist group is the pro-Israel lobbyist. Maybe that explains why we tiptoe so much around those issues, why we always side with Israel about everything. It just explains some things to me. Another one that we always hear about is the NRA, which is the National Rifle Association. Another powerful, very powerful organization, lobbyist group. These are the lobbyist groups, the 10 lobbyist groups that are the most powerful in this country. The tech group, the mining industry, the defense industry, the agribusiness industry, big oil, financial lobby, bankers, Wall Street, the pharmaceutical group, the AARP, the pro-Israel lobbyists, and the NRA, the National Rifle Association lobbyists. They support these candidates for these offices, good afternoon, Mark, by financially supporting them. Their campaigns, their budgets include the offerings and or the gifts given by these lobby groups. That's why I say, we're going to go into something in a minute. The politicians who are corrupt are also a problem that will keep us from being all that we can be as a free and democratic nation. Because the truth of the matter is, we're not so much democracy as we are an oligarchy. Now, oligarchy is a government that's ruled by a few. And I just gave you some few names, didn't I? There are 200 million registered voters in this country. 200 million. There's only 319 million in the whole country. 200 million are registered voters. If you add all the results of the election of this year, Clinton had about 60 million. I think Trump had 59 million. Gary Johnson had 4 million. The other girl had 2 million. Jill Stein. Add them all up together. We're talking about, he ain't talking about the little offshot candidates that we don't hardly hear about. You're talking about almost 200 million people, and a lot of them didn't vote. A lot of registered voters I know because they told me, and I know they're registered voters. They let me know. We didn't vote this year. But there are 200 million registered voters. Yet the country is decided upon through 538 delegates, called the Electoral College delegates. So we cast our vote on August the 8th, or whenever the first Tuesday is, of the month of November. We cast our vote. We're casting our vote for the delegates of our state to represent us in the Electoral College. And then the Electoral College decides who's in and who's out. They decide ultimately who the president will be. That's how it is in this country. I want to be a democracy. I don't think we've ever really been a democracy, really, ever. I think the word democracy has been used to placate us, to let us believe, to deceive us into believing that we are a democratic nation, but we're not. We've always been an oligarchy. We've always been an oligarchy. A government run by a few. And the prime example of that is the creation of the Electoral College. The prime example of that is when 1% of the 100% of the people in your country, 1% actually rule the country. That's an oligarchy, not a democracy. When you have 100 senators and 435 congresspersons deciding everything for us, but not for us. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that, brother? They decide for us because they are representatives. But they're not deciding for us in terms of things that would help us, things that would really be of concern to us. Good afternoon, Sister Constance. They're not doing that. There was a chart one time that said how much of the Congress decisions are really impacted by the people's desires. And I think they said about 10% on some issues. Do they even consider the population at all? Most of the consideration is what the lobbyists, the ones we said before, and we named some of the lobbyists, AARP, NRA, the oil industry, the banking industry, the pharmaceutical industry. These are the ones that they cater to because these are the ones that raise the funds. These are the ones, see, the lobbyists get them in. And the 1%ers dictate what they do. Because ironically, most of the 1%ers, naturally the wealthiest people in the country, they sit on the boards of, run, and actually own some of these lobbyist groups. So it's a handful of folk that actually determine the destiny of the 318 million people that call themselves United States citizens. We think it's the president sitting in the White House. We think it's the congressperson sitting on Capitol Hill. We think it's the justices of the United States Supreme Court. We think it's the mayor of our cities or the governors of our states. Don't be deceived, their hearts. Don't be deceived. We have to take this thing, not fake this thing. We have to look at it realistically, not idealistically. In order for this republic to become the democracy that it believes itself to be, and not the oligarchy that it actually is, we must organize, strategize, and then implement a course of action that will get us to the promised land of freedom, justice, and equality. Not just for some, but for all. For every male, every female, of every race, of every age, of every challenged ability, of every sexual preference or religious persuasion. I don't care about all of that. We are one nation, a melting pot of many people, many cultures, many languages, many ideas. Some of the greatest inventions, some of the greatest things ever done for this country and on behalf of this country have been done by people who are immigrants, because we all were immigrants. Whether you came on the Santa, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, doesn't matter. Whether you came and landed on Plymouth Rock or Plymouth Rock landed on you, it doesn't matter. Whether you came in a slave ship or landed on Ellis Island, it does not matter. We all came from somewhere else and landed in this nation, some voluntarily and some through coercion and in chains. But we all got here, and we've been here, and many of us have been here for many generations. People have been talking about go back home, talking to black people, go back to Africa. What are you talking about? Just this past week, go back to Africa. Trump, no, white, black no more. Trump's in, black no more. Go back to Africa. What kind of mess? Some of us have just as much other races in us, intermingled with the African in us. Where would we go? And if we went back to Africa, what country, what tribe do we belong to? I've been here longer than many Caucasians have been here in terms of my family. I can date our family on the African side, going way back into the 1700s and the 1800s. We didn't land on Ellis Island. Brought us here in chains and living horrific lives in those months from the African shore to wherever we landed, whether it be in Haiti or whether it be in the Dominican Republic or whether it be in Puerto Rico or whether it be in Florida, whether it be in Pennsylvania, whether it be in Virginia, wherever the ship landed. Robert said he's third generation American. Most of us have a history here. Where's my home? Darby, Pennsylvania. That was where I was born. My mother was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That is where she was born. My grandfather was born in Ridgely, Maryland. That's where he was born. His wife, my grandmother, was born in Baltimore, Maryland. I've had folk born in Virginia and West Virginia. Going all the way back to my fifth great-grandfather, born in Maryland. Come on now. You got Robert saying 3 generations. You know, so how can somebody been here 1, 2 generations talking about you go back? What do you mean go back? You go back. This is our country. This is our land. We fought for it. We died for it. We bled for it. We suffered for it. Good afternoon, Pat. And we're going to stay here. We're going to stay here until we call to the better home, far in the sky. Far in the sky. Think about it. Think about this nation of ours. We are only an infant. We're in the infant stage. That's what we are. This nation is an infant nation compared to other nations. Most other nations in this world have existed for thousands of years as a nation now. We talk about nation. We know the Americas is as old as any other land because the Americas is here before any of us got here, including the Native American. It's been here since the beginning. But we're talking about the United States of America as a nation. Russia's older than the United States as a nation. Egypt is many more years older than the United States as a nation. So in terms of nations, we're a young nation. We're an infant nation. We're not even 300 years old yet. By the time we meet the historic milestone in 2076, most of my group, called the baby boomers, won't even be here to see it. Think about that. Most of those politicians that are in Washington right now, most of those lobbyists that are bargaining with the people in Washington right now, most of the 1%ers that have the power to dictate what's being done in Washington right now won't even be here when this country is 300 years old in 2076. I'll be 100 in 2051. So that's what? For a few years later than that. So I'll be gone. The baby boomers started from 1946 to 1966. That's the years of the baby boomers. All the baby boomers are at least 50 years old. And this is 2016, so they're all at least 50 years old. So that's the baby of the baby boomers. I'm 65 years old. There's some baby boomers that are actually in their 70s. In fact, just turned 70. Time marches on. By the time 2076 comes, when we actually celebrate 300 years, all of us will be gone. All of us will be gone. But what is the legacy we're going to leave behind for not just our children, but our grandchildren? Because keep in mind, by 2076, our grandchildren are going to be our age now and older. So we're talking about our great-grandchildren. What legacy are we leaving them? We have to establish it right now, if we're going to leave them a legacy at all. So here we are in 2016, standing at the crossroads of our nation's ultimate destiny. What will be our ultimate destiny? Will we continue to shine across the globe and across this nation as the epitome of what a true nation of people of various races and creeds can do? Are we going to be a shining light that illuminates throughout the world as an example of what people working together can do and can accomplish? Or will we allow ourselves, think about it, will we allow ourselves to go by the same way as many of the great empires of history? Egypt, Babylon, Greece, Rome, the Ottoman Empire, all of them ruled the world, the known world at the time. They ruled it for hundreds of years, many more years than our nation has ruled. We're not even an empire. They ruled virtually the world. But one by one, Egypt, Babylon, Greece, Rome, the Ottoman Empire are nothing more than a footnote. Don't allow this nation to be a footnote in history. Good afternoon, Trevor. Don't allow this nation to become a footnote in history, like the Roman Empire, like the Grecian Empire, like the Babylonian Empire, like the Egyptian Empire. like the Ottoman Empire. Don't let it go by the wayside. Even the great British Empire is a shell of what it once was. Britain ruled everything in the world, including the known world and the unknown world at that time. They ruled this country. They ruled Canada, Australia, virtually every African nation. They ruled places in Asia. They used to say the sun never set on the British Empire. But corruption, nepotism, people treating others with disrespect and dishonoring folk brought a great empire to its knees. And now all of them are nothing but a footnote. In particular, the former ones that I just mentioned of antiquity are nothing more than footnotes in history. Babylon is a little city in Iraq. Rome is a city in Italy. See what happens? See what happens? Good afternoon, Rochelle. Once great empires, now they're just cities within a country. And not a big country. Some of these countries are considered third world countries. But it is a city in a third world country. It used to be an empire. Look at these histories of those countries and find out what went wrong to them and how you can mirror it in our own land today. So what must we do to assure that our nation will be perfect and a more perfect union? What can we do to keep us strong? What can we do? Well, I'm going to tell you one thing we can do. We can start by making sure that the civil rights of every American is protected, guaranteed. No doubt about it, every American. We must make sure that those who sit on the highest court in the land, the United States Supreme Court, judge fairly and without any bias, that they're not hooked to some political ideology, but they interpret the law pure and simple and not be swayed by because you were nominated by a Republican president and your nomination was confirmed by a Republican Congress, or vice versa. You were recommended, you were appointed by the president, nominated by the president who was Democratic, and you were approved and confirmed by a Democratic Congress. No, it shouldn't be that way, because when you are obligated to politicians will call in the card by and by. A Supreme Court justice must be unbiased, and we must make sure that they are. We must make sure that people that depend on Medicare, Medicaid, and other health provisions are not denied these vital services. These are things we can do. We have to ensure that Social Security remains solvent. Yes, baby boomers, you're all getting there now. We're all getting there. Young people, they're saying in time, I'm talking about my children and my grandchildren, by the time they become senior citizens, two things they're trying to do. Increase the age to 75, so 65 would not be the age that you're officially a senior citizen. They want to increase it to 75. And to be honest with you, I don't care what they increase it to. By the time our children and our grandchildren are 65 and over, there won't be nothing in the Social Security coffers anyway. We have to make sure that it stays solvent. For ourselves, for our children, for our grandchildren, and for your child, and for your grandchild, and for your children. Everybody's not going to get a pension like the senators do when they retire. Everybody's not going to get a pension like the congressman will when they retire. Everybody doesn't get a pension like the president of the United States when he does, when he retires. Many of us are living by check to check, and we need that little Social Security money just to survive. Not talking about prospering, just to survive. We must make sure that every child who has the ability to go off to college and make something wonderful out of their lives are given the opportunity to do that. If you have the ability, you have the opportunity. You shouldn't have to pay to go to a government-run school, whether it's federal governmentally run or supported, or whether it's state government run or supported. You should not have to pay. And if you pay, you should not have to pay back. Some children are still paying for loans that they took out years and years and years ago. Something wrong with that. We need to address the privatization of the prison system. Mass incarceration on a scale almost unequaled in human history is a fundamental fact of our country today. In truth, there are more black men incarcerated in prison or entwined in the prison system, whether it be parole or whether they're on probation or whether they're in the prison. There are more black people, black men in particular, that are being slaves to this system, even more than those that were in slavery. There are more people that are in prison than there were slaves. So that the companies that run these private prisons can get richer and richer. It's a business. And these prisoners are no more than chattel. Work for pennies, sometimes work for nothing. While those businesses that are actually running the prison, see, I tell you, these business people, these magnets of the industry, if you want to put them like that. Boy, they really do run things, don't they? Even the prisons now. They run the government, the prisons, everything. We have to see that's dismantled, if you will, or that's broken up. There's ways that we can do it, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. All the things we're talking about may seem like pipe dreams, but there are ways by which we can do it, and I'm going to tell you the ways in a moment. We need to support the movement to increase the minimum wage to at least $12.50 and not merely $7.25 like it is right now. No wonder people have to have 1, 2, 3, 4 jobs just to make ends meet. Your wife has to work and your children do too, just to make ends meet. This is the richest country in the world, and everybody in the family has to work just to break even from paycheck to paycheck. Something ain't right about that. We need to see to it that the wealthiest among us pay their fair share in income tax. And we need to plug up the now legal loopholes that allow the rich Americans to slip through by not paying what they owe. We heard the president-elect during one of the debates say, when questioned by Hillary Clinton about his taxes and all of that, and she heard this and that, and he said, well, I haven't done nothing illegal. Yeah, no, I haven't paid, but I haven't done nothing illegal. It's all in the books. There are loopholes that need to be sealed up. We can do that. I'm here to tell you. So how can we do all this? How can we, citizens, how can we, who couldn't even get the woman that we wanted in, or the person that we wanted into office, how could we, out of all the hooks and crooks and scheming and the electoral college and this and that, manipulation of the government and of the political system, how can we, our little selves, and we were 60 million strong for Hillary, and we still couldn't get the job done. How can we make a difference? Let me tell you, hearts. I'm going to tell you how you can make a difference. Stop protesting and do something. What can I do, Red? What can I do? Well, the first thing we need to do is that we need to change some things in this country. Because whether you like it or not, everything I just told you are in the hands of the United States Senate and the United States House of Representatives. If they're not working for you, nothing will get done for you. If our senators and our congressmen are being more influenced by lobbyists and the 1%ers and the power brokers, then we need to do something with them senators and those congresspersons. First thing we need to do is begin to start writing to them. Lodge a complaint. What issues are important to you? Talk to them about it. What things have you seen already in the projection of the Trump administration that you find troubling? Instead of beefing about it one-on-one or taking a stick and marching in the streets, talk to those senators about it. That's the first thing you do. There's something else you do too, but that's the first thing you do. Begin allowing your voice to be heard by writing these individuals. Now, I'm going to tell you, in order to find your U.S. representative, you must go to your search engine, whether on the internet or on your cell phone, either one. Go to the search engine and type in www.house, www.house.gov, G-O-V. www.house.gov. That's how you find out who your representative is, United States representative. Then you have to type in your zip code in order to find out which one is yours. Every state has 2 senators, and those senators represent their state. But the House of Representative members have districts. And so you may have, like, for example, my state, we have 18 representatives that sit in the Congress, 2 senators, but 18 representatives. Now, how you find out who your representative is, you have to type in your zip code. So if I went to find out who my legislator is, I would say www.legislator, House rather, not legislator, House, www.house.gov, and then I would type in my state. They would show me my state, Pennsylvania. Then I would type in my zip code. In my case, it's 19139. And they would show me who my representative is. Right now, I don't have a representative because my representative, Chaka Fattah, lost the election and then was taken down from being a member of the Congress. So I have to wait until my representative, who will be Dwight Evans, takes the oath of office, and I'll have a representative for my district. Now, there are many districts in Pennsylvania, actually most of them, in fact all of them, but that one, still have the representative. So everybody else in Pennsylvania, unless you live in West Philadelphia or in that vicinity, type it in anyway, and you'll see who your representative is. Senator, the same way. Good afternoon, Prophet Morgan. So you type in your senator the same way. They'll give you both senators because the senators actually represent the state, not a district. So go to www.senate.gov and it'll show you and type in your state, Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida, wherever your state is, California, wherever, Oklahoma, Missouri, Michigan, Massachusetts, whatever your state is, type it in. It'll show you who your senator is. And begin writing them. Don't just put it in your book of memory. Write them. I'm going to give you another very good tool. Another good tool that you can have on your own cell phone. It's called Vote Spotter. Vote Spotter. Go to your app store on your cell phone. I don't care whether it's an Android or an iPhone. Both of them have it. Go to your cell phone and then go to your app store, type in Vote Spotter. Vote Spotter. VOTE Spotter. SPOTTER. Go to your cell phone, type in that through your app store. It'll give you the site, it'll give you the app. And on this app, it'll show you every law, proposed law, whatever the case may be, both in your state as well as the national. And it'll ask you what you think about it. What do you think about it? Whether it's a yes or no. Do you want the Electoral College to continue to exist? If it asks that, I don't mind it and ask that, but it may come up that way. You can say no or yes, whatever the case may be. You can also make a comment or even sign a petition right there on your app that'll be sent directly to your representatives. It's a good app to have. I use it every day. I look for it every day if there's a new project, a new proposal, a new plan, a new bill, or whatever that's being offered up. I look at it so I can give my opinion. I just like doing that because I think a proactive individual is the best individual. So that's how we have to do it. We have to begin being active. Let us again turn our attention to Electoral College. Let me turn again to Electoral College because two things happened this week that's of interest. The first is that Senator Barbara Boxer from California has filed a bill that will repeal or revoke the Electoral College. She has signed a bill to repeal, that means revoke, the Electoral College. She's proposing it, she's filing it. It takes the whole Senate to approve it. But she has filed a bill that would eliminate, repeal, revoke the Electoral College. Now, I just gave you a name. You can write your senator, your particular senator. Mine is Patrick Tomei and Robert Casey. They're my senators. I would write them. I'm going to write them. I just found this out this week. I'm going to write them. One is a Republican. Tomei is a Republican from my state. And Casey is the Democrat from my state. I'm going to write my two senators. Everybody has two. I'm going to write both of them. And I'm going to ask them to support Barbara Boxer in this venture. If you feel the same way, then you contact your senators, and tell them exactly how you feel about the abolition of the Electoral College. A second thing I discovered, let me say this before I forget it. I didn't write it down, but I wanted to remember it. She said that the Electoral College is outdated and undemocratic. That's what she believes is outdated and it's undemocratic. We're going to talk about the origins of the creation of the Electoral College. What was the mindset of the founding fathers, quote, unquote, that provided there to be an Electoral College in 1787 and put it into the Constitution. There is a site on the internet that you can go to. It's really a petition that's being circulated through this site. It's called moveon.org. Moveon.org. All lowercase lettering and all one word. Moveon.org. And this petition is headlined, Abolish the Electoral College. Now you can get this and link up with this site by going onto my page, Gerald Yeshua Cares Scott, my Facebook page, Gerald Yeshua Scott. Yeshua Cares Scott. Gerald Yeshua Cares Scott. That's my Facebook name. And you'll see the link. If you agree with abolishing the Electoral College. Secondly, there are people who are planning to go to the Republican electoral college voters, to try to sway them into changing their vote in favor of Hillary instead of who they're pledged to support, which is Donald Trump. Now, there are a few states that the delegates are not obligated to stick with the individual that their state chose. Pennsylvania is one of them. Wisconsin's another one. There's a few of them like that. I think Iowa's one. Indiana's another one. Kentucky's another one. They're not obliged, but the likelihood, because of the fact that they are Republican delegates who would actually, if they would vote for Hillary, would lose their person in the office of president. And keep in mind, all of this is politics. All of it's politics. That's why Electoral College needs to be dismantled, need to be repealed, whatever needs to happen to it, because it's all politics. You know, most of the electoral delegates are mayors and assembly persons from the state they're in, so they all got a tie to this thing. We're not going to go against the machine. I think it's a good effort. It's a thinking effort, but I'm not looking much for success in this. Though there's quite a few states, there's 15 of them that went Republican that could decide to do it. If they did, it would be the first time in history. But I don't see it happening. Not all those states jumping on the bandwagon for Hillary and jumping off the bandwagon for Donald. There's too much at stake for them to do that. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not holding my breath on that one, though. Now we're going to deal with, finally, and this will be it for today, we're going to be dealing with the two main reasons that the college was established in the first place. The Electoral College was established to balance the larger states with the smaller states, meaning that the larger states had more people in them than the smaller states. So in order to balance it, we would give, there would still be, as you can hear, you know, some states have only 4, some states like Pennsylvania have 20, some states even have more than that. California, New York, and Florida have even more than 20. But nevertheless, this needs, you know, they felt that in order for the little states not to feel like they're being pushed out, that the Electoral College would at least give them votes. It would give them some sort of input in the election of the president one way or the other. That's the first thing. The second reason is, because you keep in mind, this was made in 1787 and went throughout the 1800s. And during that period of time, information could not be conveyed from one place to another easily. You understand what I'm saying? That people didn't know what was happening. If I lived in, let's say, Wisconsin, I don't know your candidate that was reared and born and lived and even has his political career in Kentucky. There was no communication, therefore mass information was not shared as it is today. There were no TVs. There were no radios. Internet didn't even come into existence as we know it until the term of Richard Milhouse Nixon in 1969. So, you know, I was alive. Things like that didn't happen. Now we can get on the internet and find out about any candidate we want to find out about. We can do anything we want to do, learn anything we want to learn about any candidate, whether it's their public life or their private life. We can see how they voted on different proposals. We can do it. I just told you there's a site called Spot Voting. You can see where your senator votes for certain things. You can go on the internet and find out the record of your senator's name. It'll tell you from the time he joined until the time he left office exactly what his position was on any topic that was offered up in the Congress. But I tell you the final thing I want to tell you is this. The way you really change things is to change things. And the biggest thing that needs to be changed, because the lobbyists and the one percenters have really gotten so embedded in this system, and has been so influential in the politics of the politicians that in order to really make a change, we have to, as I've said before, and I'm going to say it again, we have to create term limits for our congresspersons, both members of the House and the members of the Senate. Neither bodies of the Congress, neither House of the Congress, the members should last no longer than 12 years. 12 years senator, 12 years congressperson or member of House of Representatives. There must be term limits imposed on them. If it's imposed on the president, it should be imposed on the other branches of government. I think including the Supreme Court. They should be no more than 20 years. A senator, if he went in at 30 years old, which is the legal limit, legal age for a senator, congressman can be as young as 25. But if a senator stays in there, gets in at 30, he could be in there 40-something years and still only be 70-something years old. A congressman, if he goes in at 25, he could be in there 50 or 60 years. We have somebody right now that's in Congress for 51 years, still sitting in Congress. We have a senator that's been a senator for 47 years, still a senator sitting up there right now. Talked about it last week. And so many more. I mean, I ain't talking about the Bulls 20 years and 30 years. We're talking about 40 and 50 years before. Still sitting in the House right now. Still sitting in the Senate right now. And you wonder why there's corruption. You wonder why they're on the take. You wonder why they listen to the lobbyists and how come the lobbyists has so much power and so much influence within the halls of Congress. It's because these men have been in there, and I don't say women because they haven't been there quite as long as the men. Everyone that's been in there 40 or 30 plus years have been all the men. Women are getting there because they're finally being represented. They'll get there too, but we can just nip it in the bud. If you have been there 12 years or more, need to go. They ain't going to do it. Now, let me tell you. They're not going to do it. Just like the Republicans are not going to endorse the destruction of the Electoral College. It benefits them. How does it benefit them? Because the Republicans, in terms of the number of persons registered to be Republicans, they are the minority. There are less Republicans than there are Democrats. So that's why for 2 times that the Republicans have won, that's in the year 2000 with George W. Bush, and 2016 with Donald J. Trump, they won not on the popular vote, but they won on the Electoral College vote. Think about it. The 2 times that they've won in the past 16 years have been through the Electoral College process. They don't have the numbers. They don't have the numbers. And if the Democrats would have turned out even more, they would have won. She would have definitely won. Because there would have been enough to swing that state to go her way instead of the state being swung his way. You know, I think about 500 and some thousand that separated him and Hillary in Pennsylvania. It wasn't big numbers. In some states, even less than that separated the two. But because he won that state, only won by a few, but he won it. So he gets all their delegates. They all become Republican delegates now. So that's how it works. How do you stop it? You change it. How do you change it? You get rid of the corruption. How do you get rid of the corruption? You limit the terms. You repeal the Electoral College. You keep a scrutinizing eye on the president-elect and the people that he surrounds himself with. On Monday, we're going to talk about Politics 101. We're going to continue with this same topic. A change has got to come. Part 2. Now, we already talked about what change we need to make. Now, I'm going to tell you what change is going to be made if we don't make a move now. Everybody's working to change. Change is going to come. You see, change is going to come. Whether we motivate the change, whether we initiate the change, or whether the other side initiates the change and has all power in the decision of change, a change is coming. You can bet your bottom dollar. A change is coming. I'm not going to say what he's going to do. I don't know what kind of effect and impact it's going to have on everybody in this nation, I'm not sure. We got to wait and see on that. But I know one thing, a change is going to come. It's not going to be the way it has been. And what I need to let you know, and what I need to stress to you is that each of us must be a part of this process of change. We got to stop letting things happen to us and start initiating some things to happen for us. We got to stop being reactionaries and begin to get into the action of making things happen. I told people the other day, go to my YouTube channel. I want some to hear some of your comments. I want some of your comments here on our Friday program. I'm going to see how committed we are. See, we're not that committed to real change. If we were committed to real change, I believe there would have been no Donald Trump. If we were committed to real change, there wouldn't have been no Hillary Clinton. Those candidates would not have been here. All along this process, people have been talking about the less of two evils. That's a sad commentary. When this nation of 200 million registered voters, of 300 million people, are selecting from two evil folk, and you're deciding which one is less evil. That says a lot about us, not about the candidates. All they're doing is taking advantage of the moment. They're taking advantage of the moment, and everybody does that. It's up to us to say, I'm not going to accept the lesser of two evils. I'm not going to accept evil at all. I'm not going to accept evil at all. Why should I have to choose that? Why should that be my choice, the lesser of two evils? But we do it. We just do it. Or we do this. We either accept the lesser of two evils, or we just pull out altogether. Don't vote. Don't do nothing until something happens we don't like. Then we start marching. You know, a lot of these people that are marching, they didn't even vote. And some of them are high school kids, so I know they didn't vote, but they can't vote. But now we're up in arms. We're ready to fight. We're ready, it's a sad commentary. That we wait until things like this get out of control, then we don't even want to take control, but we want to do something. I just gave you the roadmap on how to get this thing right. I can give you more roadmaps on how to get it right for people with disabilities, for African Americans, for minorities. I got a big roadmap on how to get this thing right, but it's going to take everybody doing it together. It's not going to take me sitting up here on this Facebook talking and nobody's going to do nothing about it. I want to get us all together, people that are really interested. Let's have a meeting. Let's have a forum so that we can get this thing together. There's a way to do it. Oh, Bernie can't win because we had that mentality. Bernie didn't win. Jill Stein, she can't win because we believe that she didn't win. So who won? Not the one everybody thought was going to win. It's weird how life is, isn't it? I'm going to tell you this. I'm through. The Bible says this. As a man thinketh, so is he. So when you start speaking things out of your mouth, they become real. You start saying something can't be done and ain't no way we can change this. And, well, then it won't be changed, I guess, but you're not going to do nothing to change it then because that's your mindset. Your mindset said it can't be done. And because you think it can't be done, it won't be done. And that's the sad part about it all. Jill Stein had the least amount of votes of every candidate in the end. You said, well, anybody vote for her voted for a loser. Why? Because you didn't vote for her. Gary Johnson, you didn't vote for him. They could have won. Who said that anybody can't win? How do you mean you can't win? You get enough votes, you can win. More people listen to your words, you'll begin to and people start listening instead of just following like sheep. Amen. Okay, Trevor, we're going to do that. He says set up a Skype meeting with you. Have some projects to share. That's wonderful. We're going to do that too. Email me or post something in my box. And we'll talk about this. I like that. Come on, let's get together, folks. I'll say this about them young people that may not have voted, but at least they're out in the street doing something. I don't think it's going to have no effect, but what I'm talking about, what we're talking about, can have an effect. We're voters. We've been around a while. We know a little bit about this political race and this political thing. in the system, how it works and all. We know about lobbyists and all that. We know a little bit of something and something. If we would get together, instead of harping on the division and the divisiveness and black versus white and people who are able versus people who are disabled and all this, people who are heterosexual against people that are homosexual and Muslim versus Christian and this and all this division. And the man who runs it all sitting back and saying, man, my plan is working out just fine. My plan is working out just fine. He's getting richer and more powerful, and we're getting poorer, weaker, and losing all the power that we think we have. Well, dear hearts, come on Monday. Once again at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to deal with a change is coming, looking at the transition team of Donald Trump. Take it easy. Trust that a change is coming, and believe that you can help make that change, all that you would like that change to be. Until the next time, talk to you soon.